you go to that business. This is a normal lineup, and as you can see, the flawless not only with 7 people plus baggage, but actually 8. So, this is a great thing to have over here. I'm glad to have you guys over here. And thank you for coming. We want to make sure that everyone has a chance to get a ride in the car and really experience what an electric car can do. It's got incredible performance that I'll talk about in a moment, but I'll start off by talking about safety. And my kids will be driving in the car, as you can see. My friends, my family, you guys who drive in the car, we're going to do everything we possibly can to make sure that this is the safest car in the world. And in fact, we're aiming to have this car be 5-star crash rated on every category. And we think that this car will actually be the only car that's 5-star in every category with access. And the way we do that, if you look at the crash radio, now most companies will be reluctant to show this. But normally what you've got in the front is you've got a huge engine. And when you've got a huge engine, you're forced to compromise between having a short rumble zone or having the engine into the passenger compartment. The big advantage we have here with the electric car that's really fundamental is that there's no big engine there, so you've got a long rumble zone to absorb the impact. So you can see that this is a car driving into a concrete wall, and you look at the look at the area where the driver and passenger are, it's undamaged. You can literally drive into a concrete wall and step out of the car. It's just not possible with the passive cars. We've got a huge engine in front. The battery pack also helps with side impact, where the battery pack being the floor of the car, it's a very rigid structure and prevents side pole intrusion, which is very, very important. So that's really first and foremost to make sure that the car is as safe as possible. Then in terms of performance, the basic car will do under 0-60, under 300, 0-60 under 6 seconds. And because the battery pack is in the floor pan, and you've got that very low center of gravity, the center of gravity is in line with the axle. So you don't have the front and rear dive that you normally have in a car. Instead of a normal gasoline car, it's like having a sort of bubble head effect, where you've got a mass on a spring, and it's constantly wanting to move in one direction or another. But here, because the battery pack is in line with the axle, it feels more like a race car, even though it's an electricity matter. So it has handling that's really unsurpassed in the four-door category. And the reason we're able to get to that high level of performance and to high safety is because the car is designed with an all-aluminum structure. So if it was steel, it would be too heavy. So as an all-aluminum structure, it's still able to maintain that safety and still be light and agile as a car. So that's in terms of performance. That you're going into the inside of the car. So, as an electric car, it's that the sound will be really good because you can actually hear it really well. So our goal here is to have a car that's incredibly quiet, lower specs, but has a great sound system. And then in terms of the standard display, it's a 17-inch touchscreen. It's like a giant iPad. So you can do things like, obviously navigation. You can go to full screen. You can go to the internet.
Oh, that is too cool.
In terms of the song. Now, of course, you can get to a local FM and AM and satellite radio. You can also go to the internet. You can get any radio station on Earth. So if you wanted to listen to anything from, BBC to KCRW, you can get that access right here. Obviously, it'll sync with your iPhone and Android phone seamlessly, and download all the songs so they can be locally stored in the car.
Multitasks.
I would say that I'm not really happy with anything on the radio or in my personal collection, and I'd really just like to pick some band at random. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to ask for anything. So play the Rolling Stones. So now what it's doing is it's using Google Voice, doing voice recognition on what I asked for. Then going to Slack and picking up a list of potential songs. So that's just basically pulling it over the internet. So you can have access to any song, any band, anytime. At all. The car control obviously visually represent the car, so it just shows things like the sunroof is. This is actually, I think, the largest panoramic roof on any car. In fact, it's the closest thing to being a convertible with the car without the car actually being a convertible. It's a huge, huge opening. And then in terms of climate, we really wanted such that climate is something that you really never need to think about very much. So being an electric car, the power source is always there. So if you leave the car in a hot or cold environment, the car is going to attempt to maintain temperature automatically for a couple hours. So if you're in the snow or it's a really hot day, you're not going back to a frozen car or a really hot car. You're going back to a car that's comfortable. And then the car will gradually step the temperature down or up in order to conserve power. But then even if you come to the car the next morning, it's still going to be a reasonable temperature. It'll keep it above freezing point and below steering, so keep it at a comfortable range. So the car's going to kind of be intelligent and try to predict what would my driver want me mean, there's pretty powerful entrenched interests that they don't want electric cars to get out there. They're really, it's tough fighting the Exxons of the world that are making $10 billion a quarter. We need your help, is what I'm saying. So we need your help to go out there and say, hey, I saw this car, I drove it, it's real. Electric cars can be better than gasoline cars. Because that's the story that the entrenched interests want you to believe, is that electric cars can work. The truth is they don't want them to work. And here it is. They would say that this car is the equivalent of a unicorn. Well, I mean, tonight you had an opportunity to ride a unicorn. So, yeah. And not just the car, but also the factory. And the manufacturing team has done an amazing job. I mean, if you can believe it, we moved into this factory 12 months ago. So the changes, all the robots, all the lines that you see here were put together in 12 months. Where will we be in another 12 months? Pretty far. So, so in closing, let me just say thank you very much for coming. I really appreciate the fact that you traveled and you come here, especially to see this car. Thank you for your help in promoting electric vehicles, being part of the revolution. We really think of you as being part of the Tesla family. You're not just customers, you're really part of the family. Thank you. I can't thank you enough.